Welcome back,
Jesus.
Johnny Custom
Scared the shit out of me.
Front Side Press. You all right, Jeff?
I was waiting for the normal clap. I wasn't expecting the yell.
Mics are hot. Starting to feel better. World's in trouble.
Oh, it's good.
The world's in trouble. All right. So welcome back to Johnny Custom Glocks Front Side Press.
You know, I'm dyslexic. I get everything asked backwards.
Hold on. Let me get this set up again.
We're good.
What date is that? Is that it
That's
right
good
now?
today. Yeah. The shirt I'm
Yeah.
wearing. I can always tell by the shirt I'm wearing.
There you go. Go get them.
All right.
All right. We're good. We got everything set up, even though everything was set up. So we got some stuff. Got some stuff going on
I didn't
tonight.
get a notification when we were going live, though. I'm confused.
Yeah, no shit. Like, yeah, we're not being shadow banned.
Surprise.
All right. 666,000 down to 125,000 in it was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks time or something like that. And they haven't let up since. Like, I've been keeping track of that and asking people that have, because after you said something, at least like 3 other people told me that they don't get any notifications. You know, like Sean Hilton probably gets a notification.
But the only notification that he gets.
Cody says, like, comment, and share, you filthy animals.
Oh yeah, I don't get no.
That's what we're looking for.
Got 4
It's a
people.
good thing I'm already here. I don't need a notification.
There you go.
I know when I'm supposed to be here.
Like, share, and comment. Like, share, and comment. Like, share, and comment. We got stands, armored blocks, giving away one of each. All right, we're getting everybody's address so we can mail them out. But if you're around here, you know,
Gotta find a way to pick them up.
let me know. Like John said that. Said
He'll
that.
come get it.
Yeah, he'll meet us someplace and get it.
I
Something
think
like that.
the only one I have to mail is Corey's. So far.
What is going on here?
Ah, look at that. Minnesota.
Just telling people should get their stuff.
They're pretty. I
They're
ain't gonna
great.
lie to you.
They're awesome.
They are great.
Yeah.
All right. And we will get to that in a second. All right. But like, share, and comment. Don't forget to comment, though, because it doesn't always show us that you shared. Okay. So I had to give Julie a break and do some legwork today and try to figure out where the names were and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
so there we go. So don't forget to comment. All right.
Woohoo! Sorry.
Well,
I was just checking my subscribers because I know you're going to ask any minute now, and it's at
Just hold on.
992. So I got all excited for a second there.
And if you haven't subscribed,
8 more
and
people.
I don't know why you'd be watching this show and haven't subscribed to Musings with MGL on YouTube. All right. But head over there.
No better.
That's right. And you know
I need
why
8
you
more
should know
people.
better? Because I'm what?
A high-speed motherfucker.
That's right. So
8 more people.
that's all we need is 8. Somebody call a friend.
Yeah.
Like here's what we need. We need whoever's watching. How many got watching?
We have 8.
8.
Have,
There it is.
we've got Lena, Corey,
They're all probably subscribed. They better be anyway.
Sean, of course.
Yep.
We've got Kenny Johns. Hey.
Hey,
Cody Johns.
there you go.
All right.
The family's in. All right, now listen. Here's what you need. This is your mission should you choose to accept it. All right?
Yeah, it's good.
The 8 of you, hardcore motherfuckers, all right, need to ask one friend to go subscribe. Plus, like, it's not even like that big of an ask because you're doing that, not ask. Make sure I don't miss
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It's not like Jeff's that big of an ass. All right.
I said, I'm the ass.
Big of an
That's why you got to watch.
Sexy.
Just say, look, this is where you're gonna get all your information. So your job is to find one person who doesn't watch his show, and one, make them watch his show. But 2, send them over to Jeff, have them subscribe so they can get all their law info, so they're not driving around thinking that there's a fucking 3-step rule. Like, think of the favor you'd be doing to people if you just asked one person.
Oh, 12.
See, all right,
Wait.
now 12.
There's
of
not
your
a three-step
hardcore
rule?
motherfuckers. All right,
Your sister's on.
which one?
The runt.
Ron, you subscribe to Musings with MGL? Put it in the comments. If you're not, you're going to YouTube right now and bringing us up to, 993, because we're 8 short. So you and Michael, all right?
Oh, each. Yeah.
All right. And the rest of the family needs to go on YouTube right now and go to Musings with MGL, find that, and subscribe to it, because we need 8 more to get them to 1,000, and then I'll have to listen to it
So you
anymore.
got Linda and you got Michael.
Yeah, you will,
got
because then it's 10,000.
Jeff and your mama. That's 5 right there.
Then we're on our way to
Wow.
10,000. I'm staying on it until I hit 1 million.
Ron, call up Jemima and show her how to go to YouTube. We got to get it over there. The family's got to show up. Let's go. It's like this. If you came down here and stabbed and shot someone, Jeff be there for you.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying.
I would.
So at least go over to YouTube, Musings with MGL, subscribe, and let's get them to 1,000.
Yes.
That's it. We've
Okay.
been trying for what, a year now?
Cody wants to know, are you guys pushing on Twitter? It may help.
Yes.
No, but I would.
Well-
We had talked about that. We'll get an X account set up. All right. But
The,
feel free to hassle me. We got one.
Yeah, Musings with MGL has Twitter. Frontside Press does not. We're working on getting Frontside Press a Twitter page. But Musings with MGL, do have a Twitter page. Well, X. Hang on, you got to say it correctly. Musings with MGL does have an X. So you can, if you're on X, you can follow me on X as well, Musings with MGL, because I post all my content on there, cross-post stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, we are pushing X as well. The only thing I don't have is the talkers of the ticks, because I don't want China to have all my information. So
So let me ask you this: do we still tweet?
it's not
On X?
called a tweet anymore because it's not Twitter.
What's it called? An X?
I don't know what it's called.
You X? They just don't call it that.
I don't think they call
There's
it
nothing to be called. All right, I got.
Well, everybody
I'll
still
set up
calls
a
it
account
Twitter.
for the
Everybody
Frontside
calls
Press.
it Twitter. Everybody calls it tweet, but it's X.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm old. I'm still gonna tweet. I'll get an X account, but when I'm on there, I'm gonna be like, I'm tweeting. Because I'm just getting into Twitter because I never used it before. Because
I never did either until we
Anyways.
opened it up for Musing with MGL. Now I'm going on there and trying to follow some people and keep up with some stuff. But I never used it either. I always thought the place was a shithole. That's where all the shitholes are, right? People go to the shitholes, right? Yeah.
we will do what Kerry tells us, and we will go and set it up.
Well, that's
And then
why
we just
lawyers
gotta-
chase ambulances, because that's where the hurt people are. So that's why advertisers chase Twitter, because that's where all the people are. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah, we talked to Mark about that. He's gonna work on it. That was something we talked about in our production meeting last week. Correct.
All right. Dennis Lauderdale says, Mike is a saint. I see a halo around his
See?
head. There you go. Look at that.
Which way do I go?
Or get in the middle.
Hold on.
And then Sean.
Woo! Even though what that is my membership to the Jack Daniel Club, the Tennessee Squires. But we'll just call it a halo.
I'm pretty sure lots of saints drank.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
do you know I was in an Irish punk band, right? Probably like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago or whatever. And you know what the name of the band was? Driving the Saints to Drink,
That's cool.
which is a great friggin' name. I'll get the song. We have a song, and I'll get it, and we can play it.
Sean says, I thought Twitter was only for adult content. Ooh. We have Miles.
Well, what the fuck do you think this is? That ain't for your damn children.
Right.
All right, let's start. Now that we're way off base, let's thank our sponsors.
Oh, my. Yeah, it's late.
So first of all, our king sponsor, Johnny Custom Gloss, because life is way too short to have a Glock trigger that sucks. That's all I'm saying. All right, that's it. Get on his social media. All right, follow him. All right, his Instagram's great. His YouTube, he gives out a lot of trade secrets of what he's doing to the gun and stuff like that. So if you got a G-Lock, you should be following Johnny Custom Glocks. All right, the best Glock trigger on the friggin' planet. Glock perfection. Yeah, it's closer to being perfect if you drop one of those Johnny Custom Glocks in there. All right, all my carry guns, all my carry Glocks have Johnny Custom Glock triggers them because I don't trust any other trigger for gunfighting to protect my family. That's it. All right. Now, Sean Hilton in Smoke Show 3D, right? Don't forget, if you go buy something because for some reason you can't win because Sean's just winning everything.
Yeah.
Now, all right.
Likes and shares.
Like, if you don't have one of these, just go buy one. It's not worth, not having one. That's right. And FSP 10.
FSP 10, 10% off.
That's what you got to
And
do.
he can engrave the stuff on him too. You got to pay for it, but he'll put the stuff on there for you. So
Yeah, the second one he did like that.
Yeah.
Maria, just to let you know if you're watching, your stuff is in my truck. I made sure we put it in the truck, and I forgot to give it to you.
You haven't given that
Here
out
it comes.
still, huh?
Here
Wow.
it comes.
That one is still in your possession. I'm shocked at this information.
We have some new people. Greg
We'll
Hamilton.
be having tryouts for other co-hosts.
Uh-oh. We have some new people watching. Greg Hamilton
My
is
camera
watching.
doing?
What up, Greg?
And we've got Casey McCarthy.
We won't say who Casey is.
Okay.
We'll just say that we love him very much.
Okay. Good deal.
That's weird.
Casey's the guy with a badass cat. That's who Casey is.
Okay.
Sends me a picture of his cat's head like, like, well, there's a badass cat. All right. So there's our sponsors. So everybody get their beverage of choice. Do I have enough of the toast?
Oh, I can fill it up.
Nah, I'm good.
All right.
You're a little easy with that.
Oh, I know. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I just
five.
need two
I
fingers.
Just count. Yes.
All right. So get your beverage of choice. Like, share, and comment. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Casey, you got to get one of these.
Yep.
Which way am I going?
Yeah.
No, Julie's showing it to you. There it is. All right. Or I could give it to Jeff. All the way over to Jeff. There you go.
No, you
All
won't.
right.
Why would you? You never give it to me.
Casey says, drink one for me.
You know I will. All right, because here's the deal. Julie got us all these toasts. Now she's getting a gig of this toast here, right? So this, it hits home. It's a very personal toast. All right. So get your glass. Everybody ready?
Yep.
Alcohol. Because no great story ever started with, well, we were eating a fucking salad.
Yep.
I remember about probably 20 years ago or whatever, one of my friends says, hey, can I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah. He goes, man, how come all your great stories start out with, well, we were drunk? I've never heard, what's a great story? Easter morning, like, nothing starts out like, guess what we did? All right. Everything crazy. I'm just saying. Like, I'm sure I have some great stories when I was sober. And give me about a week.
Not as good.
Oh, when we went to Mississippi. There you go.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
But those are stories that need to be told
On a party.
while I'm drinking.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. JB's on.
JB. Like the guy saying, are you sure you're qualified to be here?
Oh.
He goes, do you have 40 hours of training? And I said, this week?
At least.
That's the Mike McGowan I'm getting back to.
Yeah, I know. That's good stuff.
That's all I'm saying. You're in for it, Jeff.
Oh boy.
I've seen it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's going to be game fucking on, I'll tell you that.
So what are we talking about tonight?
Oh, we got stuff to talk about. Tell them, Jeff. Tell them what we're talking about.
Oh man.
What? I thought you were going to tell him. You want me to tell him?
Yeah.
You're the
I gotta
lawyer.
figure out a way to put these in the titles too. Your president issued a new rule today concerning firearms.
No.
Now, my president is your president.
Oh, not mine.
Yeah. A new ATF rule was announced today.
Oh God.
So to set it up for you, it has to do with, well, they say gun show loophole, but we know there's no such thing. It has to do with regulating FFLs and places like gun shows. So set the scenario. We've all been to gun shows. You go to a gun show, you're walking down the aisle, there's Gun Shop 1 with their big name up there, and the guy that runs a 4473 background check and sells you a gun, transfers it to the local guy, and you got to go pick it up 3 days later, right? Walk down the gun show, there's another guy doing that. And then on the other side of the aisle is old white guy number 1, and then old white guy number 2, and usually like old white guy number 3 with a table that has like 30 guns on it and a big old handwritten sign on cardboard that says what?
Private sales.
Private sale, private collection, not even sale, private collection. And they're saying, these are my firearms from my private collection, which I'm allowed to sell. I'm not an FFL, so I don't have to worry about running a background check or holding it for 3 days or anything along those lines. So this new rule is intended to basically stop that. So it's kind of weird because the law now says you already can't do that. There's already a law on the books that says you can't sell guns for profit. Already exists. And if you do, you have to have an FFL. So, right. So Biden passed a law that says we're going to make it illegal for you to sell guns for profit without an FFL, which again, I was always understanding that that's how it was. So on the surface, what this is a typical political ploy to be like, oh, the war sucks, inflation sucks, the cost of eggs suck, I suck, so I'm gonna say
gun
that
show
I'm doing something on
loophole
guns
is rocking.
right, by passing this new law or signing this new law in the ATF rule. It's not an executive order; it's an ATF rule, similar to the SIG braces and everything else like that.
How'd that
Where
work
I
out?
think this is going to be dealt with is here's what I analogy it to. I did a video and we talked about it a few months ago about what's happening with actual FFLs. So it used to be if you ran an FFL and you went through your audit and you had a handful of paperwork mistakes or whatever, nothing serious. You didn't sell a gun to a felon or anything along those lines. You just had some, paperwork mistakes. The ATF would basically just give you a warning and say, hey, in the future, fix these paperwork mistakes. Have a nice day. Nobody cared. Well, the Biden's administration created a rule that said zero tolerance for FFL mistakes. So now if you have an FFL and you make that one paperwork mistake, they're not just saying, hey, fix it and don't come back. They're immediately going to revocation of your FFL. Now, it's always been the law that if you have one paperwork mistake, you lose your FFL license. It's just been in practice. They didn't really enforce that because they weren't in the business of shutting down businesses. They just wanted compliance. Joe Biden comes along and says, no. Now we're going to shut down all these businesses for every paperwork mistake. So I think that's what's going to happen here. Because again, it's already illegal for you to sell it. But if you somehow popped up on the ATF radar that you were maybe selling guns without a license, they would normally just warn you and say, hey, look, I think you're selling guns for profit at the gun shows. We got our eye on you, Joe. So maybe you should be a little more careful at future gun shows. And then they would basically just leave it at that. Maybe they'd check in on you every now and then to see if you followed your advice. What's going to happen now is when you pop up on the radar, you're not getting that, hey, we think you might be selling these for profit, so you might want to stop it. Now you're selling these for profits, and you're going to get handcuffed, and you're going to get taken to jail. So there's nothing in the announcements that say they're going to have like 1,000 new ATF agents just go to every gun show in America and start handcuffing the old guys with the private sale thing on their desk. They wouldn't do that. But what's going to happen is if you do get put on their radar somehow, you're not going to get a slap on the wrist. You're not going to get a warning. You're going to get hauled off.
Jesus.
Here's my thought on this. Like, one, I don't appreciate the guy running a gun shop without an FFL.
Mm.
Private collection. You got 150 fucking guns on your table. You just paid $300 for a table to sit here for the weekend. You're trying to tell me that that's it? It's like this. I'm not anti-gun because that's what Jeff always tells, says
No,
I'm
it's not.
anti-gun.
You're anti-Constitution. There's a difference.
You're breaking the fucking law. If you get caught, go to fucking jail. Do your time. Here's the deal. If I get caught doing something, you know what I mean? I'm going to jail.
You don't do anything illegal.
No. And you call me, I'll get you out of jail.
Limitations. Like, what year is it? I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. It's been a couple decades.
Clayton Klink is watching.
Hey.
Hello.
Well, and that's kind of my, like, here's my take on it as well, is those guys are FFLs. I don't believe for one fucking second that those guys are selling their private collections for fun at the gun show. Because those same guys, if you're walking around the show with a rifle on your back, they're going, hey, how much you want for that rifle? What are you doing with that rifle? So then they'll buy that rifle for like $200, and then an hour later you'll see it on their table for like $300, and they're going to try and tell you that it's part of their private collection. All those guys at this gun show, I'm sorry, in my opinion, are running FFLs. Right? They're buying guns and they're selling them. They just don't want to pay the license. So that's number one. Is I think they are FFLs and they are probably breaking the law. And right, if you break the law, you break the law. The constitutionalist in me says the way to fix that is you shouldn't have to have an FFL. If people want to sell guns, they should be able to open up a gun shop, just like a lawnmower shop or whatever, and not have to have any special license to be an FFL. It shouldn't be regulated any differently than any other industry. That being said, right, I think that those guys are clearly running FFLs, and it isn't fair to somebody who's trying to run an actual FFL business and is having to pay all those fees and regulations and taxes, and then the other guy just sets up down at the table and says he's selling his private collection. Now that guy's never going to make the type of money that an actual shop would make based on inventory, et cetera, et cetera. I get that, but still, they're definitely FFLs, and
can't be running a private fucking gun shop. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I got no problem with
you should be allowed to,
selling,
but you can't.
Selling a gun to his neighbor Pete.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like this. There's a law for that. If Pete's a fucking felon and he commits a crime, they follow the gun back and they find out Joe sold it to him.
Right.
And Joe's fucked. And hey, that's what you get.
So Miles says, so is it illegal to bring a gun to a gun show and sell it in Florida?
No.
Trade values are the worst. No, it's fine.
No.
And
that's the issue is private sales are legal. Right. I can sell my gun to my neighbor all day long. Right. As long as I don't know he's a convicted felon, et cetera, et cetera. I'm allowed to do that. That's not regulated. And whenever you hear people say they want to close the gun show loophole, what they're talking about is private sales, because it's not just at a gun show. You could do it at a garage sale. You could do it in the Walmart parking lot. Like it's not some law that says you can't sell a private gun anywhere except at a gun show. So they call it the gun show loophole just because it sounds cool, but it's really talking about private sales.
Here's what like Sebastian used to be one of was he the director? Okay, was Sebastian the director at Mars Vision?
Mars Vision.
So Sebastian came to me one day and we were talking about something. He goes, well, except for the gun show loophole. And I go, what do you think that means? And he goes, well, you can just go to a gun show and buy like one of those fully automatic guns. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah. I go, I'll tell you what, here's what we'll do. We go to a gun show and I will pay for you to get in and take you to lunch. The only thing I ask is I get to film you walking around asking everybody there about the gun show loophole and you buying a fully automatic weapon through the gun show loophole. He goes, that's the way it is. I'm like, you ever been to a gun show? No. You know anybody who's ever been to a gun show? Like, that's what he thought, that you could just go there
right,
and buy you buy machine guns through the gun show loophole. Because if, the laws don't count if you're at the Manatee County Civic Center.
right.
Like, once you get through those doors, laws cease to exist, and that's it. And I was like, I'll go with you. I'll pay for everything, take you to lunch, but I get the video. That's all I'm asking. And he was like,
well, and that is the issue.
No.
Is everybody assumes gun show loophole basically means that, like, the gun laws on the books don't exist at a gun show, that felons can walk in there and just buy guns legally, or nobody runs a background check. It's like, yeah, they don't understand. They don't understand. And if they subscribe to Musings with MGL, I've done actually several videos on what gun show loophole is and what it means. So if they went on there, they could find a nice couple videos on that. But yeah, I'm not really too concerned about this new rule. It's a bullshit, because it's all for political purposes, and I don't like any laws. But it doesn't change. It doesn't change anything. It's already the law that's on the books. They're basically just talking about enforcing the laws we already have. Which, by the way, isn't that what we always say? Why are you passing new laws? Why don't you just enforce the fucking laws that are on the books, and maybe we wouldn't have all the problems that we have? So I don't really have a problem with them actually enforcing the laws on the books, but.
Jeffrey.
Uh-oh.
I've told you this once. I've told you this 1,000 times. You're not an idiot. Don't try to think like a fucking idiot. Your brain will literally blow up. It'll spin so fast, and then boom, your head will blow up, because you're never going to figure it out. So using logic, stop doing that.
I mean, my emotions are what have to dictate how I live my life. Emotions. It's about the children, Michael. It's about the children. Don't you care about the children at the gun shows?
So, Jeff, here's a question for you. So, what if you just have a gun you want to get rid of and know somebody that wants to buy it? As long as you know they're not a felon, are you allowed to sell it to them? Shouldn't you get their driver's license or put the date?
Let them answer the question first.
Yeah. Okay.
So say it again.
I did. I said yes.
Okay. So my question for you then is, when you sell a gun to somebody else, should you get their driver's license, the date, the serial number, all that other good stuff? What should you do when you sell it to somebody else?
Yeah, bill of sale.
Right. So the answer is, legally, you don't have to do anything. So in Florida, you don't have to ask if they're a convicted felon. You don't have to check it. You can't knowingly sell it to a convicted felon. If you sell it to your neighbor and you don't know that he's a convicted felon and he turns out to be later on, technically you haven't committed a crime. Now, you're probably going to have to argue that in front of a jury, but technically you haven't. There's no affirmative duty to, like, run a background check on the person or anything along those lines. So you don't have to do nothing. You can just sell it to him and call it a day. That's what the law says. Best practices is, of course, as Mike says, you should get a bill of sale for every gun sale that you do. I mean, you don't necessarily need one if it's your buddy. Like, if I was going to sell one to Mike, I probably wouldn't get a bill of sale, because I know he's not a convicted felon, and I would remember selling him my 1911 blah 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 because we're friends. But certainly, if you're going to sell it to somebody who's just an acquaintance or a gun show or anywhere along those lines, you should get a bill of sale just to protect yourself. You don't necessarily have to see a concealed carry permit or anything like that, but you should at least have that person's information, because, what happens is, the way they find they backtrace guns. In other words, somebody shoots somebody in a murder, leaves the gun at the gun scene, they get the gun, they can't find out the last person who owned it. The only thing they can find out is the first person who owns it. So they get the serial number, and they call Glock, and they say, hey, what gun shop did you sell this serial number to? They tell you, Guns Are Us. And then you call Guns R Us and say, hey, who did you sell this serial number to? And they pull their 4473 and say, we sold it to Mike Johnson. Here's his address. They call Mike Johnson, and Mike Johnson says, no, I sold that gun to Bill Smith down the street. And then they go find Bill Smith. So they go to the beginning, and then they work their way forward. They don't start with the last owner. So if they get to you and they say, hey, who'd you sell it to? And you go, fuck, I don't know. It was some guy down the street. And I just said, here, give me $300 for it. You're not going to get legally, technically in trouble for that because, again, you really haven't broken any crimes. But if you're the last guy who they can prove owned this gun and they don't know who did the murder, you're probably going to be on their suspect list because you're the last person who had the gun and you can't tell them what you did with it. So you want to be able to just point the cops to the next guy in line. That's why you want to have your bill of sale. So that way, when they come knocking on your door, you can go, here's who I sold it to and the date that I sold it. It's got nothing to do with like taxes or how much did you charge or are you running a gun shop illegally without an FFL. You just want to be able to push them to the next guy down the line. If you don't have the information for who you sold it to, you can't do that. So you don't necessarily need a bill of sale, but you at least need to know who it is. Like I said, I wouldn't necessarily have one for Mike, but I can go, yeah, I remember selling it at 1911 to Mike and go talk to him. You need to be able to know who has it next. And if you've got some documentation of that, because it could be 10, 15 years down the road, and you might be like, well, shit, I don't remember who I sold that Beretta to. But if you got it in your computer or in your drawer somewhere, you can go track it down. So you should certainly give you some sort of evidence.
A real world story of that, okay? So I'm working at a gun shop. You guys all know what it is. And I get a thing from the ATF. And they want to know where the gun went. All right? It's called gun trace. So I go back in, I open up the book, I look, and I'm just like, all right, it went to this person on December 31st. Right? And I send it to him. And the guy calls me. He goes, I want you to go check that again. Right? And I'm like, all right. So I go check it again. Yep, December 31st. Come back in, call him. I go, yeah, I left on December 31st. He goes, I'll tell you what. I want you to go check that again. And I'm like, so I go back, I look at this, I look at that, I look at something else. I'm like, oh. I'm like, nope. It didn't leave on December 31st. It left on December 13th. No, I didn't write it in. No, Julie didn't write it in. Some other dyslexic bastard wrote it in. So it left on the 13th, and every piece of paperwork was the December 31st, right? So I call him back up, and I go, hey, you were right. Like, not that he didn't know that, right? I go, it left on December 13th, and somebody switched the numbers. I go, how did you know? He goes, you want me to tell you? And I go, yeah. He goes, because on December 15th, I found this gun 2 kilos of cocaine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I guess you know it didn't leave on the 31st then.
Yep.
It was a North American Arms Derringer. It was one of the little ones.
Yeah, one of those little 22 things or whatever. Yep. I had one of those for a little while. We do have
one dealer's using that as a gun, but he's probably not very good.
Hey, we got a couple more people on. We've got Louis Soto. Hi, honey.
Hey, brother.
James Gerard.
Hey.
And Connie Flatt. Hi, Princess.
Yes. You don't know. That could be Mike trying to defend.
Maybe.
But probably not. Probably Princess.
Before we switch topics, Biden did make a statement on this. I think Carrie's got it to play. He did come out and make a statement. I want to see what he had to say about guns and the gun show loophole.
Kishida Fumio, I think that's how it's pronounced. It's guttural. He visited the White House. Of course, former Vice President Biden was an embarrassment. It brings us to this week.
Biden looks good.
If you have a problem figuring
I know, right?
Never
me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Prime Minister is going to travel
Here he
to
is.
North Carolina tomorrow to visit that project. Don't stay. Including the Senkaku Islands is unwavering. Third, next question. Who do I call on next? Hang on a second. I got my list here. Hang on. I apologize. We've agreed that we would, number one, have personal contact with one another whenever we wanted to discuss anything, so there'd be nothing slips between, they say, between the cup and the lip. Elect me. I'm in the 20th century, 21st century. Why didn't everybody holler at once?
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump,
there you go.
ain't black.
That's your president.
Let me check my list to see who I'm supposed to call on.
Yep.
Free open press,
president.
baby.
It's unwavering.
Exactly.
It's the deal. At this point,
There you go.
it's not even fun picking on him. It's so.
I know. It's like abusing an elderly man at a nursing home or something.
Yeah. Except for the nursing home is the United States of America, and
So that was the big legal news today. Everybody's all, the interwebs are all in hubbub about this new rule. But again, if you step back and take a look at it, it's just nonsense, like anything else.
Yep.
What are you gonna do?
Like, I don't know if it affects me. I do take my private collection to the gun show. All 450 guns.
So Maria has a question for you, Jeff. I wonder what would happen if you sold it to a person who passed away. The authorities are looking for the gun owner. You have a bill of sale, and the deceased person either sold it or it was stolen from them. I don't understand the question.
That's not your problem. You
say like I sell it to, Pete Smitty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pete Smitty does something with a gun. It ends up at a crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
So they track the gun back to me.
Yeah.
And I go, I sold it to Pete Smitty, but he shit the bed.
Yeah, he's dead.
Like, what do you want me to do about it?
Yeah, right. It doesn't matter. You just want to be able to point them to the next person. If that next person is dead, that's that person's problem, not yours.
I got a bill of sale with the guy who shit the bed, his name on it.
Yeah.
Do we have something else we're going to talk about? Something?
The shootout in Chicago.
Yeah.
Another choir boy got,
Yeah, I just wanted Mike to watch it because there's some interesting tactical stuff in it. If people don't know, and then I'll shut up. If people don't know, there was another shooting in Chicago, police-involved shooting. Guy was pulled over, wouldn't get out of the car, pulled a gun, and actually shot at the cops. And then the cops returned fire. Now, they fired 96 times, and that's the number that it's like anything else. As stupid as it sounds, if they'd have fired a handful of times, it probably wouldn't be a big deal. But all you keep hearing is they shot him 96 times. They fired 96 times. But you'll see they have some body cam footage of it. It doesn't show him actually dying, so it's not graphic or anything like that. But there's some body cam footage of it that kind of shows what it leads to. And there's some interesting things about how the police officers act and where they take cover versus concealment, things of that nature. So I had Carrie pull some of the video for you to watch. I don't think you've ever seen it. And then you can just kind of analyze it. And then we can talk the political ramifications of it or not. But basically, I just thought it was interesting from a tactical standpoint.
Roll the windows down. Roll the window down, man.
Now, some reports say 11 shots. We counted 8. Comment below what you hear.
Roll this one down. Roll that one down, too. Hey, don't roll the window up. Don't roll the window up. Hey, okay.
He's rolling it up because he's about to shoot them.
Unlock the doors now. Unlock the doors now. Unlock the doors now. Open the door now. Open the door now. Open the door now. 11-6-4, David, shots fired, shots fired. Hey! Shots fired.
It's not good cover.
No, it's not.
10-1.
She also decided to find better cover with a cheese grater.
It's like this. First of all, as much as I like Steven Crowder, he should shut the fuck up because he's never been in a gunfight.
Right.
The choice of cover behind the fence, probably not the best choice. I would have stayed behind the fucking tree.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was my first thought. The tree sounds like good cover.
Yeah.
I don't think she could see what's going on. I think the guy went down, and I think that's when she moved up. But
that's what I was thinking.
You can't really tell what's going on. Like, I'm not going to critique what she did. All right? I've never been in that situation. Everybody's always like Monday morning fucking quarterbacking cops, and you can go fuck yourself.
Yep.
So, as much as I love Steven Crowder, you can go fuck yourself. Like, yeah, probably not good cover, but you know what I mean? Nobody was shooting at him when he was watching the video. And I mean that with total respect because I love the guy, but I'm tired of people Monday morning quarterbacking, the cops. It's like this. first, as far as the 96 shots go, how many cops were shooting? Somebody said something about
obviously, yeah.
50 rounds. Like I didn't hear 50 shots fired.
No.
You know, but then again, maybe they did and I didn't hear it or whatever. You know, like the big thing is somebody shot at the guy after he was dead. And like my problem with that is what?
Right. You know? What does it matter at that point? Is it a hate crime?
Right, it doesn't fucking matter. You
right.
know what I mean? It's like remember JD Grudd? Like this was
Oh yeah, I do.
It was 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
Like they pulled over a guy, he killed a deputy, he shot the dog, he shot another deputy, and then the fucking SWAT team went after him, right? So you got 11 guys with MP5s, like, oh, you guys fired 96 shots at him. Why is that? Because Grady just said, because we ran out of ammo, which is...
Right. We had to reload.
Gosh.
Right? But the thing is like this, if you got 7 guys or 11 guys and 4 of them got MP5s and they touched the trigger, how many rounds is that downrange?
Well, that's the issue is if there's 10 or 12 cops around there, they're all shooting. It wouldn't take very long to get up to 96 rounds. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's 8 shot each. You know, the guy like, you know, it's not like he was alive at 58 shots into him and they kept, you know, they finished him off or whatever like that. You know, it's just like they're all shooting. Everybody's stressed. Everybody's missing shit like that. You know, they're probably, I hate to say, but not very good shots anyways. Yeah. You know, I mean, someone there was a good shot, obviously.
But most don't train with you.
Most don't train. Most don't train, period. You're like,
go.
You know, I was talking to one of my friends talking about how people don't train and how don't shoot. And I'm not going to mention who it was because they may be watching the show. Just saying. Right? So, you know, they shot that many rounds. Like, you know what? He's a scumbag. First of all, he deserves to get shot that many fucking times. Fuck you. Glad you're dead. It's that simple. You know what I mean? Who gives a shit? All right? Here's the deal. You don't want to get shot 96 times or whatever? Probably not a good idea to shoot at the fucking cops. Oh, how's that? Like, let's just start off with, if you don't want to get shot, try not to shoot at cops.
Or do what you're told.
Well, and that's kind of my thought is, like, if he shoots first, does it matter if they kill him on the first shot because they have good aim, or on the 96th shot because they have crappy aim? Like, what is it? It doesn't matter how many shots it takes. If you shoot first, like, I don't know. Yeah, would they rather they be snipers and just killed them on the first or the second shot rather than having to shoot 96 times? I guess what they would like him to do is shoot him in the hand and knock the gun out.
They should just get a shotgun. Get a shotgun.
Him. Well, yeah, they could have just double-barreled twice in the air, and he would have dropped his gun and surrendered.
Hey,
that's true. Good point.
Should have
maced him. Could have maced him. I don't know.
Like, here's something I do want to point out, though. All right? Like, with all the stupid shit I've done in my life, I've never been pulled over by a TAC team.
Right. Well, and that was part of the issue is they claim he was only pulled over for a seatbelt violation, but you don't really pull, like, something else was going on there because that's a lot of cops for a seatbelt violation. And whether they're racist or not, even racist cops don't show up with like 15 of them for a seatbelt violation. So what was probably happening is
how close they were. All right. Right. So what happened is she took fire and she ran to that tree. How long did it take her to get to that tree?
Yeah, 4 or 5 seconds or whatever. Yeah.
All right. So she's calling it in as she's running. And when she turns around at the tree, the TAC team's already got like a van.
Well, yeah, she obviously wasn't there by herself in the beginning. You could see several other officers in the side views of her body cam. They obviously had more people there before they even went up to try to open the door.
Like they knew, like I would say that they probably had him, you know, they were probably watching him. They were probably looking for something else. Like I like to know what was in the car.
Yeah.
Because you don't use TAC teams, fucking seatbelt violations and tinted windows.
Yeah, dark.
Well, he probably was pulled over for that, but here's what most likely happened because it happens here all the time. Like, city of Sarasota is famous for this because what they do is they have these TAC teams. They have drug TAC teams and they have firearm TAC teams, and they roam around Newtown and other places like that, and they set up surveillance in front of certain locations. and they watch from a distance like a drug deal. And then they see the white car, license plate, blah, 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 drive away from the drug deal. Well, the law says you can't pull them over from a drug deal because you don't know exactly what they changed hands, et cetera, et cetera. So what they do is they call out for a regular road deputy to do a traffic stop on the white car. And the TAC people just kind of stay, a block or so away in the area. And 90% of the time when they pull the car over, they smell the odor of marijuana or find some other guy's got a license suspension or whatever, and they find a way to search the car, and then lo and behold, they can find the drugs, and then they can charge them with whatever's in the car. And
there's an RPK in here.
Right, and those TAC guys they're always right there. So that, like, this is how most of my cases, the drug cases that I get come about. It's not like a bright sunny day and they pull somebody over for not using their turn signal, and they luckily find 2 kilos and a gun from a certain local gun shop laying on top of the bags in the back seat. That's not right. That's not how it works. So my guess is that's what happened here. He was being surveilled for something else. He either came from a known drug house. They do that a lot of times too. They'll sit on a drug house, and every car that leaves from the drug house, they call out a local unit. And you can follow any car for 5 minutes and find hundreds of violations to pull them over. They didn't lose their turn signal. They didn't stop the stop sign. They don't have their
tail light
on. They're swerving in the lane. Well, yeah, right. Yeah, your tail lights are broken. Yeah. So that's what they do, and then they just pull them over and hope that either maybe a drug dog is around and sniffs on it, or they just smell marijuana. Half the time, the people just blurt it out. Hey, man, I got a blunt in the glove compartment. Then all of a sudden, you're getting hauled out, and so. Where are you coming from? All those things I tell people not to answer when they come to the window. Where are you coming from? Where are you headed? Yeah, don't. Ernie. That's how they do all that stuff. So right, that's exactly what happened here. It's what we call a pretextual stop, which means you ain't stopping them really for what you're stopping them for. You're stopping them so you could somehow interact with them and hopefully get into the vehicle or smell something or find something else. And he knew it was a pretextual stop because he probably had a lot of illegal stuff maybe in the car he wasn't supposed to have, and so he started shooting. That's my theory anyway, based on my 20-something years.
Because innocent people always start shooting.
Jeez.
Right.
It's like this.
Yeah, you saw it. The minute she walked up, he starts rolling up the window. He's like locking the door. He starts rolling up the window, and it's tinted, so that way he could probably get his gun out. Like Crowder said, he was getting ready to get his gun out so they couldn't see it, and then he got popped.
Here's what I tell you.
Like, I don't know what you're supposed to do in that situation.
I don't know all, and I'm not always right. Yes, I am. But anyways, she knew something was about to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, she didn't want to be there because the guy behind her was already into it. Like, his gun was already out. Right. There was already panic going on.
Right.
Right. She was already backing up when the round started firing.
Right. That's what I thought was funny is the minute, I don't know if she maybe saw the gun or they all finally saw the gun or whatever, but it was certainly a situation where everybody started kind of backing up before the shots ran out. So I think they definitely saw something.
Like, so I doubt she was going one way, saw this guy going the other way, and didn't have a seatbelt on, decided she wanted to pull him over.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm not even sure.
I mean, it might have been her truck that had him blocked.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not even sure she's the one that pulled him over because she wasn't coming at him from behind the car like in a typical traffic stop. There's other body cam footage out there. That may have just been, she just may have been the closest one to him to capture the shooting. That's why that's the one that they released everywhere. But my guess is she might actually be part of the TAC unit and was one of the people who got in front of the truck or his vehicle so he couldn't leave in the first place. I had a case where a guy was in the Wendy's drive-thru because they wanted to pull the guy over, and the freaking truck, the SWAT truck blocked the exit to the Wendy's drive-thru, and he couldn't pull out of the drive-thru because they have like the curb there or whatever, and the other truck came in and blocked him in, and they got a bunch of shit for that because there were other fucking people in the drive-thru, and then they're running by these other people's cars with their guns out, the helicopters above, and all these other people are like, why wait 2 minutes for him to fucking get his cheeseburger and pull over like in the empty parking lot or whatever. But no, they actually trapped him in the fucking Wendy's drive-thru and swarmed on him with the SWAT and the helicopter and everything. So they get really aggressive when it comes to that stuff. I'm not saying you should shoot back at them. That's when you give up and say, fine, you fucking got me, and I'll hire a lawyer and try and get out of it. But it can be really aggressive with that kind of stuff because you're already on their radar and they know they're not pulling you over for a seatbelt violation. So everybody's adrenaline, you could tell from the minute, my guess is the minute that traffic stop happened, it was going downhill from there because that guy was not going to jail. He just wasn't going to jail because you don't shoot at, it's not her. It's not one cop on a desert road pulling you over and you're like, oh, I'm just going to ambush this guy and then drive off. He can't fucking go anywhere. He's surrounded by 20 cops with guns. So that was basically a guy that was like, I'm not going to jail. He just wasn't going. He was not going to escape.
I'm not going back to prison.
Right.
When you hear those words, you're in for a bad fucking day.
Yeah, that guy. So it's unfortunate. I don't want to say unfortunate, meaning because I know you're saying you're glad he's dead or whatever, but it's unfortunate that the cops have to be put in that situation to where they're being shot at. You know, that New York cop was just.
They're gonna try to put them in jail.
Sucks.
They're gonna ruin their career.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with it. I'm sure the city will be sued.
They're gonna cave to Chicago. All right, because Chicago's gonna riot anyways.
Well, the mayor is a big lefty. Like he's worse than the crazy Lightfoot mayor they had last time. He's more left than
Beetlejuice.
So, yeah, he's gonna do everything he can, probably get them fired. And if they sue the city, he's just gonna order them to write a check because he's gonna want these people to get money. Anyway, it's unfortunate. So yeah, I agree with you. You never want to tacticalize that stuff, but just from a layman's standpoint, she took cover immediately. It was a little long way to run, but maybe it was the closest cover she could get behind. And I agree with you. I think the reason I think she came up, I think it was over, but when she decided to come up to the great area, she probably thought it was over. He was dead, and maybe she wasn't as concerned with cover versus concealment. But you always talk about cover versus concealment, and those slots are neither. Let's be clear. The slots don't count as cover or concealment.
Concealment.
Okay, just double check it.
I will give you that one.
Crowder's right on that. That's not cover or concealment. All right. So it's 8:58. We want to draw some stuff? Questions?
Hold on one time. We got questions. Go ahead.
All right, let's do this.
James wants to know, can you get pulled over in Florida for no seatbelt, or is it secondary offense?
No, nope, it's a primary offense now. Yeah, it's primary now. It used to be a secondary offense up until about 7 or 8 years ago. And the reason it was switched is because of what I just talked about. Because it's not for safety. There was no stats or anything that said, oh, seatbelt deaths are on the rise, so we need to pull it over for seatbelts. It was the police lobby that got them to make it a primary offense because they wanted the ability to pull people over for not having their seatbelt.
So if you commit a felony, buckle up. It ain't that fucking hard.
I always say that. I always ask my drug traffickers that. Why the fuck are you doing 100 miles an hour on the interstate when you got 2 kilos in your trunk? Why didn't you make sure your blinkers work? Why didn't you make sure your headlights work? Why didn't you update the registration on your fucking license plate? Now, thank God they didn't, or I wouldn't be able to pay my mortgage. But I don't understand if I'm taking kilos, I'm getting a 87-point inspection on my car before I get on the freaking highway. But they don't. It's crazy to me. It's so stupid. Stupid.
What's the other one?
Here's another one from Corey. How about these very old vehicles? They don't have no seatbelts.
They don't have the shoulder strap.
And they
don't have the shoulder straps, right?
They're grandfathered in, right?
Right. It's not illegal. You have to have your seatbelt on. So you can't own a car that doesn't have a seatbelt. I don't care if it's a crank one from like whatever. You'll have to have something put in there to help you in. But for example, right, my 71 Camaro doesn't have a shoulder. It only has a lap belt. So if a cop pulls me over because he says, oh, I didn't see that you had your seatbelt on, my argument would be, yeah, you didn't because I don't have one. And that's something. He can't write you a ticket for no seatbelt because when he walks up and sees it's in your lap, it's fine. Now, let's say it's not me and somebody else in that situation, and now they smell marijuana and they get you out of the car and search it, and then they charge you with a crime. I, as a defense attorney, would probably file a motion to dismiss for an unlawful traffic stop, because you could say you pulled him over for not wearing a seatbelt, but how did you know he wasn't wearing a seatbelt? Because it was an older car,
Right.
and they don't all have shoulder things. And so you might be able to get that case thrown out on a bad traffic stop.
I wasn't doing anything wrong while I was committing a felony, so tough shit.
So you guys need
That's right.
to make sure you have Jeff as your attorney. Listen, we're at 9 o'clock. We got to do the
let's roll it.
Yep.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe to Musings with MGL. Hey, did your things go up?
What things?
What?
Oh,
My subscribers?
Yeah.
While we were sitting here? I don't know. I'll check.
Yeah.
Probably not.
This is 411.
Spin it for the stand. Man, I hope Casey wins the Armor's block.
That'll set.
$9.95. They went up by 3.
Thank you, McGowan family.
They went up by 3.
Can you tell who it
Next
is?
Next week, you won't hear me blubbering. Well, it'll tell me the name of the people, but it doesn't say their personal names. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Who won?
Corey, you win another one.
And spelt his name right. How about that?
Yeah. Arendt.
Yeah, but it was almost Sean. That's okay. Sean's going to win this time.
One of
Spin it.
One of them was Jason Hensley. I don't know if he's on here or it could just be a coincidence. But
who?
Jason Hensley just subscribed
Everybody's talking the ones that get hit shit.
37 minutes ago.
Connie.
Donnie Princess.
Connie. Woohoo.
Who? So who did you say subscribed?
Jason Hensley.
Anybody? Who else? Anybody else?
Hensley. Yeah, I don't know if it's anybody in this chat. That's the only name that I see. Because I did pick up 3, but when I'm looking at my notifications, that's the only name that it says is new.
All right. It's late.
All
right.
We're past.
Rolling again?
So let's
or we roll everybody
thank our
already?
sponsors. Our king sponsor, Johnny Custom Glocks, because life is too short to have a Glock trigger that sucks.
True.
And the guy that wins, but still gives it to you, Smoke Show 3D, Sean Hilton. Don't forget your FSP 10 to get 10% off. And you should have one of these. Casey, you should have one of these in case a Glock ever breaks. Which it won't, but you can use them to clean things. All right. Thank you guys for watching the show, supporting, everything like that.
Thank you for subscribing.
Yes.
Good topics.
We're 5 away. We're 5 away.
Well, we're getting there.
All right.
And I just want to tell everybody, next week.
Peace.
And if Lynn's watching, I need your contact.
I contacted her.
Did you? Right.
Because her name's on the